Hey friends, I know that it's hard sometimes to encourage yourself to do a core workout by yourself, so I'm going to do it with you. Grab a cloth napkin or a small washcloth, and you're just going to fold it so that it's going to act like a little spacer right above the back of your pelvis. So it's right in the small of the back. So go ahead and press the low back right into that spacer so you can feel the texture. So we're making it so that you're not tucking your pelvis. You're going to bring your arms into an upside down hands and knees position. And I want you to keep that sense of wrapping the abdominal muscles, not just top to bottom, but also side to side. So you're compacting. Just holding like this could be a really good workout. We're going to add to the challenge by bringing one arm and the opposite leg away from each other, and then coming back like you're on your hands and your knees upside down. It's called the dead bug. And back. Let's just keep doing that, but with a focus on that sense of drawing the abs in. Once you know what I'm doing, you don't have to look at the screen. You can focus deeply on what you're doing with a somewhat meditative practice. So you should feel some sensation already, like, oh gosh, I'm working my core muscles. Let's do 5 more. 1. If it's too challenging, the leg that's going parallel to the floor could go more vertical. This is 3. Breathing, drawing the lower ribs in. And here's a last one. Okay, hug your knees in for a moment. And then bring your knees back, so your knees are right over your hips, and you're going to take your right hand and put it on top of your right knee. My right arm's bent a little bit, but I'm pulling my knee up against my hand, and I'm pushing my hand against my knee. So I have this really deep connection. We're just going to hold that for 10 seconds. 2, 3, my other foot's down. I'm just concentrating on this isometric core work. And then switch sides. Take your right foot down, bend your left knee, and push up against your hand. So you're using your abdominal muscles, you're using your psoas, which is a deep hip flexor. 4, 5, 6, 7, thank you for doing this with me. 8, 9, and 10. Let's switch right hand against your right knee. Push with your right knee up into your right hand, and then bring your left leg and your left arm away from each other. We're just going to do it 5 times. 2. And the arm and the leg have some tone, like there's a band between them. They're not floppy, they're reaching. So tone means some muscular engagement. And switch sides. The right side reaches out. 5, 4. You're going to get more of a workout by doing it slow and really pulling your left knee up against your left arm. Let's call that 5. Take your arms up, put your heels down. You're going to be pulling your heels back and under you and press your pelvis up. So it's not a yoga bridge where you're arching your upper back, but you're squeezing the heels deeply into you. As I do that, I'm drawing my pelvis into a posterior pelvic tilt. That means taking the tailbone under and drawing the hamstrings right with the base of the buttocks, really taut. So I'm working the back muscles, lengthening the low back, using the buttocks, using the hamstrings, and pulling my heels like I'm scraping them under me pulling my heels away from my toes. You want to be drawing slightly in with the inner thighs. You don't have to bring your knees together, but the inner thighs are drawing from side to side in. Let's do 5 more. Again, the ribs are in, not flaring forward. And I'm holding for a moment at the top. That's 2. So you should get a really good, satisfying sense of squeezing right at the base of the buttocks, the top of the hamstrings, and working the length of the low back. And here's One more, and let's hold that up there. Pull your heels back and in. Neck should be relaxed, but nice tautness, nice strength through the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax down. You can move that spacer from underneath you and bring your knees into your chest. Roll to your side, doesn't matter which side, face towards the screen. You're going to come up on your elbow. You're going to be balancing on the edge of your shin. That forearm's going to draw in towards you. You want to first make your body really straight so you're not leaning down and dropping your shoulder or letting the ribs hammock towards the floor. So you're drawing up like that. Just holding there is a workout for your core muscles. We're going to add to that by raising the pelvis up. We're just going to lift the other leg a few inches above and just tapping up and down with the hip. I'm not letting my weight settle down on my hip. And we're working this strength from the lower shoulder blade into the core. Almost like there's a handle here and someone's just lifting it up. You could do beautiful things with your arms, stretching it up. And let's just do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, and again, I'm holding for just a bit at the top. 2, long neck. And last one, just hold that. Straighten your top leg. Reach your arm out away from the top leg. And then bend your bottom leg, your top leg, and come in and switch sides. I've been having so much fun making these videos. So here's the shoulder coming up. There's the ribs hammocking down. You want to draw them up, shoulder down. This could even be an exercise if you feel like you're a shoulder lifter upper. So you're going to draw that down. I'm balancing on my shins. My knee stays on the floor. And just tapping down and coming up. I apologize that the lighting isn't perfect. I have to tie my iPad up with tape because sometimes I get halfway through the video and then the wind blows it and it falls over. And then I have to start over. So I've done these exercises a lot of times to try to get it right. And I would have the view of the ocean in the back, except then when I do that, I'm just in silhouette. Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, ribs are drawn down, long low back. 3, 2, and here's your last one. Let's stay up, straighten, so that leg is straight. Stretch your arm out, draw your your supporting shoulder down, and just holding that long reach. Great, we're gonna face towards the floor, and we're gonna do this next movement with our forearms on the floor and our knees on the floor. So I have my feet up, my elbows are there, and first just lift your tailbone up. This is how we're not going to do it. We're going to do the opposite of that. Bring your tailbone down. So you're tucking your tailbone down, creating as much length in your low back as you can. Your elbows are drawing back away from your fingertips, helping your shoulders draw down. So we're holding an isometric contraction, almost like you're trying to fold your mat up in the middle. This should be fairly challenging. If I were to pour some water on your low back, it should not puddle in the low back. So you're in a way trying to make your low back like a bunny hill instead of a valley. Long neck. Let's hold for 10 more wonderful seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I hope that you're doing this with me. 3, not just watching it. 2, and 1. Come up onto your hands and knees. Flex or round your spine up towards the ceiling. We're going to call that a curl. And then scoop your spine out and arch. Just a simple cat-cow. Curl. When you arch, you're using the muscles in the back of the body and lengthening the front. When you round your back or curl your spine up, you're using the muscles in your core. And now just take a moment to move in all directions with your spine. So side bending, turning, wagging your tail from side to side. We're going to come into a downward dog. So walk your hands just a bit more forward and stretch your hips up and back. And then come forward into plank. 1, and back, and forward 2. We're just doing 5. Back and forward 3. Making sure that your tailbone draws slightly under and back towards your heels rather than letting your hips go up. And let's hold this last one for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Make your legs super taut. 3, 2, and 1. Lower your knees. Like to do these wrist flexion raises before we do the next thing. I'm spinning my left arm counterclockwise and my right arm clockwise so that this inner part of the elbow faces forward. Lift the heel of your hand up, doing just some wrist flexion raises. This can be very easy if you shift your weight back onto your knees. So make it a little bit more challenging by shifting your weight more towards your hands, so your wrists are supporting more weight. Then we're going to do a wrist stretch. I'm going to pivot one fingers back, and I'm going to walk my knees forward more, bending my hand back and then up. So opening up this underside of the hand, my fingertips are staying on the floor. And on this third one, let's stay there for a moment. We spend a lot of time with our fingers curled in if we're holding a phone or using the typing and things. And then switch sides. So this opens up from this kind of dinosaur position to opening things out. So other hand bends. And I like the satisfaction of getting my elbow to touch my thigh when it bends back, and making it a little bit harder by walking my knees back so I get to fold back further. Here's your third one. Let's stay back and hold that for a moment. And just feel, how does that feel to open up the wrist like that? The next movement we're going to do is a quadruped. You're going to be on your hands and knees. Again, your arms straight, rotating the inner elbows forward. Curl your toes under. Spread your shoulder blades apart so that the space between your shoulder blades is wide. You're not dropped toward the floor. Then lift your knees off. So the ribs are drawing and knitting in towards the abdominals. Okay. Just holding this, it's like holding a plank, but I think it's a little bit better because it's easier to keep the low back more integrated. If you want more of a challenge, you could shift your weight into 3 points and lift, let's say, a foot without moving your torso, or moving it as little as possible, or a hand. So just slowly feel the things that are on the floor being really stable. Or you just hold flat. 10 more seconds, either alternating, raising one of your 4 supports, or just holding steady. 5, 6. And then come down, lower your knees, and again, wiggle your spine around. We go up into some balance positions. So we're going to come all the way up to standing. I have to get to where you can see me. And I'm going to you could grab a rolled pair of socks or a tennis ball, just something to toss from hand to hand. The only reason that we're going to toss something is to keep our mind occupied. We're going to stand on one foot. So you could make it more challenging by tossing further away. You could toss up and down with one hand. You could get really tricky and toss under a leg. Let's switch feet. But just tossing. You're still breathing in and out as you're balancing on one foot. And it's no problem if every so often you have to let's switch sides again. if every so often you have to put a toe down, like a little training wheel. A few more tosses on that side. It's one of the best things you can do for your core, standing on one leg. So it's switch sides. I have some friends that brush their teeth standing on one foot. Just tossing something back and forth. It's good for some hand-eye coordination. Okay. Throw down your balled up pair of socks or your ball. We're just going to shift and balance. Shift and balance. So the weight is sloshing to the side, and then you have to catch it with the side of your hip and your core. The slower that you do it that you come onto your foot, so it's kind of a quick and then hold, quick and then stay there for a moment. Quick and here. So it's like almost like, oh, I go into slow motion there. A few more, and let's stay on this side. 5, 4, 3, moving your arms and your legs around. And then the other side for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to walk forward with the wedding walk. Step and balance. Step and balance. Thank you for joining me. I've really enjoyed making these little videos for you. Step and balance. Step and balance. Good job.